it doesn't really make that much sense what he's saying, just because like stylistically, Hoi Veris just like it's on Cassio Ivern. I think we were kind of down to stream the scrims, but like or stream the scrims. I don't think we really cared about that. I don't know about. I didn't really hear what he said there.
Those were some games. Unfortunately, obviously, we lost 2-0, but it was, it was our first game. You were very
Yeah.
confident yet, like the past few days, saying like you were going to win 2-0. What happened?
I mean, sometimes you got to talk it up, but I think the reality is that we were scrimming kind of lower tier teams, and I think when we're ahead, we're doing really, really well, and those teams kind of like fall and die, like fall over and die a little bit. And we did have some scrims against like higher tier teams, and honestly, the difference between us and them, it feels like, is we're not we're not okay like slowly losing and waiting for a better fight, maybe. And you can kind of see that in our game two, especially. Like, I don't think the game is very easy for them to progress. It's just going to be farming, farming, waiting for 6 items, pretty much, right? Um, but we kind of gave them a lot of openings. But not only that, like, let's say going through a lot of game two, we kind of fucked up the first Grubby fight. If Fudge got the kill on Sejuani there, the game is so good, right? And then
Where
he
you
kind of
flashed
got
over
fucked
the
on
wall,
top.
yeah.
I lost my flash, right? And like Victor without flash against Azir, it's like I'm hands up, just like 5 minutes, can't walk up, right? And then obviously Cassante gave up like a wave and a half to even do that. So I don't know, plays like that kind of explode our game. I think in terms of like our actual team practice as well, we were doing really well on swaps and making sure our bot lane was like having good lane states, right? We played like Kate Maokai into Jin Nico, really hard lane, right? I think in scrims we would have been like, yo, let's swap the top, let's just lane against Mbessa. Mbessa can't play versus us. You can lane versus Jin Nico. We're gonna come out advantaged, right? But on stage we didn't do it for some reason. And then also we were trying to swap, but we RNG'd a little bit wrong. So yeah, there's that. But it happens. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, I
And
think
then like I think like Azir versus Victor is kind of a sleeper lane. I TP'd back early. He's trying to wait for a better base, and like they lost Dragon from it. Like that's the main contribution I made in the game, and then the game kind of blew up. So um, but yeah, and the first game we were in control actually after the top dive when I moved up and I got like 3 kills. Um, I felt like the game was pretty good. We just didn't really. I think honestly that one might be like first stage nerves. We also need to practice this habit a little bit in scrims too. But sometimes when we hear the word fight, we're like, let's just throw our bodies in. We win no matter what, right? And there was like this top line fight where Rel is kind of like just gonna take all her HP and then we're gonna have full control if we just poke her out and like take it slow, right? But instead, we all in. We watch Cassio walking towards this wall against
oh,
us.
where she
Everybody's
flashes.
just.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah. I mean, in game, I'm like, yo, Cassio's over the wall. Be careful. And then we just kept going and died. And then we're like, what the fuck? Cassio's here. I'm like, what? So it's yeah. I mean, stuff like that kind of needs to be fixed because I think like just stylistically, we have Hoi Varus. We're both poke champs. They have Ash, Cassio. They have to fight like full fight us to win. So if we just like take a chill pill, honestly, in the first game, I think we had it won if we just played it very slow. And I mean, team comp is like really bad versus our comp. So
speaking of
yeah.
comp, so Bwipo, I don't know if you saw, he tweeted, he talked about it. He was like, man, how stupid, to put it in PG terms, are Shopify. They watched us play at Worlds this composition, and then they let us have it after having like 4 months off. And he was just like
Mm-hmm.
very
Game
disappointed.
one.
Yeah, he was saying like, how could you possibly give us Ivern, Cassio, and what were they playing? An Ash. Like,
Ash.
yeah, how could you give us
Yeah.
these three? Like, and then you blinded Jackson to it. He was just like very very disappointed that we picked those champions and we didn't like ban. So there was like a whole thing about like draft and how no one's
Mm-hmm.
like Yeah, so I kind of wanted to get your opinion on like game one draft, because a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
why are they just like CBAing draft basically? Like they're not actively drafting."
I mean, realistically, you just look at our champs versus their champs, right? I think. I mean, I haven't played against Cassio that much, and Claude is obviously a very good Cassio. Um, he went like this poke Cassio build with just Airy and like Q point, like Q max a little bit, like 3 points or something. So Lin was a bit hard, but honestly, that's how playable. When it gets to mid game, I can't really imagine how he expects to play. Like he has to, they have to walk up. They're going to get poked by Hueveris. Um, Urgot isn't really hard winning jacks if we lane swap. And if Urgot gets dove by my team, he's going to be completely Omega useless. With just he's the most he can do is click R, right? And then at that point we have to dodge like Ash Arrow, or like I don't know, people can tank it. It's not like the enemy team can even run through our carries when they want to hit our front line. I mean, it doesn't really make that much sense what he's saying, just because like stylistically, Hueveris just like shits on Cassio, Ivern, and Ash. Um,
Oh, it was the Urgot that he was
however,
mentioning, not the Ash. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, however, I can see that they do have like play potential, right? Like I think I got hit by like 2 Ash arrows, but we were also putting ourselves in really bad positions too. So that's why I'm saying like I can't imagine like 6 item to 6 item. They feel like they're a lot stronger. Hoi and Varus is just going to one shot whoever we land poke on, and they have to get a good engage off. If they don't, then it's wraps. You know?
All right. Well, could you see? I wasn't sure because we didn't see it from your perspective, but there was an Ash arrow. I think the dragon fight where you on the bot side and you got Ash arrowed and died, but
Yeah.
you had flash up. Could you see it? Because the Ivern bushes were kind of covering like the Ash arrow track, and I wasn't sure if it was like
Um.
Massu like sniping you or you actually just didn't see
I mean,
it.
he definitely placed it well, but I should have just flashed. Like realistically, like I had the time to flash. I was like, I should just flash, except that my Leon is probably gonna die even though I flashed, and then like, yeah, except that we lost that fight. That's just bad play by me.
Okay, because
But good after by him too. So
yeah, I wasn't sure if you actually saw it or not. Because at first I was like, man, like Hui had flash, and then when we saw the replay,
yeah, yeah,
it looked really good from Masu's end. And I was like, okay, maybe it was.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like realistically, as a player, you should just be able to flash an arrow that's on top of you, even if you don't see it. Like in the back of your mind, you should just be thinking like, if I get hit by Asher here, I'm dead. So I'll flash, right? Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks for actually going into detail of that. I am relatively happy as a Shopify fan this year versus last year. At least in our first game, like we were trying to top dive in game one, like it didn't go well, and then we just like
Yeah.
5 minutes later we were back up there, blew their flashes and killed them. I was
Yeah.
happy to see signs of life, even if we did lose. It is what it is. My last question for you is actually about Fudge. I've been asking every player about Fudge because most of what we hear is either completely scapegoating him and saying like he was so bad and he was good that he was cut from Cloud9, but at the same time he's like the super smart player, and it's like it isn't making sense. You played with him back in 2020 at C9
Yeah.
Academy. You won a couple, academy trophies, and now you're playing with him again. How was he back then, and then like sort of what have you noticed his growth in the now?
I think Fudge is just a very vocal player, and I think he's smart. I think anyone who says he's not smart is kind of capping a little bit. Um, I think he's very logical, and he also brings like a very good team atmosphere. Like, let's say things are getting a little bit emotional, he'll kind of just like call it out, and then just like put an end to it there, which is very, very good to have on a team. A lot of the time, like coaches don't actually address that until later, and it's especially like powerful to have like a player doing that. Um, on top of it, like I think he's like a super, super stable player. Like if he gets it, like he's gonna play a lane how he plays it in scrims when it gets to stage. If he gets it an advantage, he's going to do something with that advantage, and he's pretty smart on like macro points, right? I think right now we're the thing I was talking about like with lane swaps, right? Is that Fudge hadn't really played the lane swap meta of last year, and I don't really think that like us on NRG were very good at it. So it's like I'm also mid lane. Like I'm fucking adding nothing to. I'm only adding like what I've seen from other teams, right? So we're kind of just like in this learning process of like how to even deal with lane swaps, and like nobody's really dealt with it on our team like that well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess sorry. What I was trying to say about Fudge though is like he's kind of adding a lot to that. Like I think he's making improvements and he's pretty smart about it. So we're like learning faster than normal.
All right. This format's a little scary. You lose one more game and you're out. What are the confidence? I know you just lost, but like what is the confidence
Yeah,
level that we can actually like make it to Brazil?
yeah. I mean, I'm not joking. Like our scrims really have been like complete stomps against like the lower tier teams, and right now, like next week, I think we're gonna have a lot more scrims against like better teams because
Oh,
like
question
you're
for
the
you.
bracket separation, right?
Yeah, so Fudge was, or not Fudge, but Bwipo was saying like, oh, 7 out of 8 teams didn't want to scrim us. Was that just for like streaming the scrims or just scrimming in general? I don't know if you know, but
I think we were kind of down to stream the scrims, but like or stream the scrims. I don't think we really cared about that. I don't know about. I didn't really hear what he said there.
okay,
Um,
sorry.
yeah, but I mean, most of our scrims are going to get a lot better this week, just because like again, like the bracket separation is going to make it so we can actually play better teams this week.
All right,
Yeah.
hopefully, are you going to be streaming at any point? Just like your
Um,
nightly streams, or maybe not more?
I think I'm having third blocks actually. I think
Okay.
we're gonna just try to get as much practice in as possible, so we can actually make it to Brazil, right?
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's a
Yeah,
worthy sacrifice. All right, thank you so much. I know after a loss, a lot of times people don't want to do interviews, but you've been a real champ about it, and
yeah,
hopefully you make it to Brazil.
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
All right, bye. Well, yeah, 2-0 kind of sucks. I did like I said, the signs of life and the fact that we were fighting and we weren't giving up. I had a lot of questions and only a certain amount of time, so I didn't get through all of them. But I'm glad that he was like super open and just honest to talk about pretty much everything. Very curious to hear that he was down to stream the scrims. Wait, what? I'm gonna post this online and see what happens, what people say. But yeah, he apparently Shopify were down to stream them. Also, like the whole draft point, where he was just like, our draft was actually better. We just misplayed. I think this is like a really cool discussion. I would love to have just Palafox and like Bwipo just talk. I think it would be a great pros episode. I doubt that's going to happen because normally what they do with pros is they take two people that play on Sunday and then one person that plays on Saturday. So chances are we're not going to get both Fudge and Palafox. But honestly, yeah, could have been a little bit better, but we're so back. I'm racing David, by the way. I almost forgot. I'm racing David to who hits 5K subs. Sorry, 8K subs at the end of the year. I really want to win. He's past 5,000. I'm at almost 2,700. So I'm only a casual 2,300 behind, but I know that I can definitely do it because last year I got more subs than him, and hopefully this year we keep it up. So hit that subscribe button because I really gotta catch up.